Hey guys, I'm Tiffany.
I'm Erica.
And we're the Nerdettes. And we're here to talk about the latest premiere of Game of Thrones and the new season. Oh, it's called Dragonstone. And, it picks up immediately where the last episode left off of the finale from last season. It shows, Arya after she cuts Walder Frey's throat, and everybody has disliked him forever, obviously. And so it shows her later, and I actually thought at first it was a flashback, like before she slit his throat. I was like, okay, that's weird. It's kind of going back in time now, okay, because it shows him at this party, and I actually thought it was after the Red Wedding, that he was celebrating what had happened at the Red Wedding with the like his men. And I saw, of course, him give them wine, and he pretended to drink, and I was like, well, that's odd. And then he prevented his wife or daughter or whatever it is from drinking.
Ew.
And so then you slowly start to realize, as he's admonishing the men about inviting these people into their homes and killing them, and a pregnant woman, a mother of 5, all this other stuff, and then of course she pulls off the face, and I was like, oh, it's her moment of badassery, and she just kind of, all these men slump over. The women are fine. It shows at least 2 women that are completely fine.
Yeah, I don't think they drank anything.
And, well, if they did, if the other girl did, it was, or maybe she wasn't allowed to, supposedly, because she's a woman, but it was secretly so she wouldn't get killed as well. And she said, if anyone asks what happens here, tell them the North remembers and winter is here, and, all this other stuff. And I'm like, yes! That was a glorious way to begin this season. Heck yes. And then, so it just kind of goes from there. You see Sansa and Jon Snow, and they're talking to all the families of the North, trying to get them back together, the Karstarks, the Umbers, talking to them to reunite. It talks about, Sansa's a little bit against him giving those families their homes back, because the Karstarks and the Umbers sided with the wrong
Ramsay,
side, obviously, with Ramsay Bolton and the man who tortured her. So, it kind of shows that obviously she still has that kind of grudge almost against them for that reason, on the family. And, Jon reminds her that it's not okay to, look at what he had to endure, because his father, spoilers, not his father, not his father, basically raised him his whole life. Like, he was kind of low on the totem pole, or that's like, obviously Ned Stark raised him the best way he knew how, but he was always kind of demeaned because he was the son of the whore, or what have you.
He was the bastard son.
Yeah, the bastard son, and all that stuff. So, that's how he was kind of raised. So he doesn't want to carry that on and basically make these sons and daughters atone for the sins of their fathers, which I think is very noble of him. It takes a bigger person to not be petty and to not hold a grudge like that. So, I totally admire him for that. I kind of wonder, on the other hand, too, if Sansa had maybe talked to Littlefinger and told him maybe that if they helped them, maybe they could have some castles. I don't know. That would be kind of logical, because the Vale did show up, and everybody knows that he has a thing for her because he had a thing for her mom. So, ew. Mm-hmm. So, but it's interesting, though, later their interaction is very, very heated and very kind of clashing, because he goes to talk to her and she just shuts him down.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm sure that was amusing somewhere else, and to someone else, or just all this stuff, and basically very dismissive, very kind of cold, and
like she wanted peace
like
and quiet.
an ice queen.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, if I could give you anything to make this better, I would. She's like, some peace and quiet would be nice. I was like, damn, okay, wow. Like, because previously she's been more warm towards him, so it's very, I mean, considering that he did match her up with Ramsey and just his kind of manipulative nature, I get why she would be this way, but it took her some time to get there, so it's an interesting antithesis for me. So I don't know. It's interesting. I was not expecting her to be that way, but and then we see Arya. Oh my God, let's talk about this. Okay, so Arya, you see her trotting along on her horse, and she runs into this band of soldiers, and one of them is Ed Sheeran. What? He's the one that's singing. She overhears some singing, and she goes to investigate, and there is none other than Ed Sheeran. I'm like, what? What?
I was totally jamming.
I was so shocked. Like, I was not expecting that.
That was very random.
That was random, but so cool for him to make a cameo like that. I can appreciate a good cameo.
I'm sure he's probably a fan of the show, and that's probably how that happened. But
and still. They probably every party needs a bard. Come on now. Come on, Dungeons and Dragons fans, we know the bard is always the troublemaker. But yeah, so of course he's there in this band of soldiers, and at first I was kind of skeptical. I didn't think it would go off as planned. It just seemed a little too good to be true, obviously, like it's a trap, like she's very leery, obviously, going up to them and tying off her horse, and she's like, they're offering her food and a meal basically, and you can tell she's like, but yeah, so apparently everything went well, and they ask her what a girl's doing heading to, basically where she's headed to the Red Keep, and she's like, I'm going to kill the queen, and they just laugh at her because it's like, a girl kill the queen. Of course, they don't know what she's done to the Freys, and
well, right, they don't seem to know who she is at all, to be honest. And
which is interesting.
And I love how, and I love how she laughs with him. She's like, oh, I'm going to kill the queen. No, but really.
No, but really, yeah.
Like, she just lets them, laugh it off. She's like, all right, whatever.
Okay. So, I mean, that was interesting, just her reaction. And then, of course, it goes back to Cersei, and you see her with Jaime, and their interaction has gotten kind of cool now. Weird. And, of course, she's talking about she's having a map painted on this courtyard, and he comes to talk to her. Like, they've never really talked about her son committing suicide when he saw Marjorie obviously die, and everything get blown up as it did. And she really kind of seems to dismiss it really coldly. I was kind of surprised, because there's one thing we've always known about Cersei, is that she was very close with her children. And she basically says, now they're nothing but dust and ashes. They're dead in the ground. We are flesh and blood, and we are living. So we are the ones that have to make a legacy for ourselves. And just kind of I get it because they're in a time of war, but dang, that was more cold from her than I expected. So, we're starting to see, we've seen her be cold and dismissive before, but now this new kind of personality that she's showing is, now she has nothing holding her back. Like, her kids, she doesn't have that anymore. So it's kind of scary to think of what she'll end up becoming. So, yeah, but, we see, the new Greyjoy king, I guess, come, and, he, with his fleet of Ironborn, and basically tells her he wants to marry her, and she turns him down because he's like, I have two hands.
Yeah,
nudge to Jaime.
I was gonna say, that's kind of throwing some shade at Jaime.
Yeah,
but then,
big time.
And the funny thing was, before he got there, she acted like she was all about that, because she was kind of throwing it in Jaime's face, like, oh, he wants a queen. And I was like, and so I'm thinking, okay, she's doing this. I expected
her to accept the
I figured it was a strategy. I'm like, okay, she's doing this for a reason, and I figured she'd be like, all right, whatever, because she's gonna get something out of it. But then he offered, and she's like, no.
Yeah, she's like, she basically turns him down. He's like, well, in any good proposal in marriage, there's always a priceless gift that, the person that's proposing brings, and he makes it known that he's going to set off to get it. So I mean, maybe he's going to try to kill Tyrion, or I honestly
that was your
don't
theory.
know.
That was what you said.
That was my theory. Is he's going to take his fleet and go after Tyrion, or I honestly don't know what his plan is. Maybe he's going to go after the North.
Well, but we also saw that Tyrion was with Daenerys, so if he's going after Tyrion...
he's going to need a bigger army.
Yeah, he's going to need a lot.
They really, I mean, Cersei included, underestimate the...
Targaryen?
The Unsullied and the, like... She underestimates Tyrion because she doesn't see him as worth her time anyways. She kind of... Obviously, she demeans and admonishes Jaime for even... siding with him at all at any point, even though he's their brother. You know?
Yeah. He's family.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we see lots of different things. Obviously, we see Sam trying to be a maester, cleaning the...
Bless hit. That was so... It was... I laughed, but I felt bad. He was cleaning bedpans. He was shelving books in the library, but mostly he was cleaning bedpans. It was so... And he kept gagging, and every time he did, I started laughing. Because I'm very... I like physical comedy. I'm really morbid that way. So, when people get sick, I laugh. Which is really not the appropriate reaction, I guess, but...
It's sometimes those nervous laughter.
In this case, they kept showing... It was just repetitive, him cleaning, him shelving books, him cleaning, him shelving books, and they just kept going. And every time they would show him cleaning stuff, he would be like, and I just started cracking up.
He actually begs the Archmaester. He's like, look, I'm here to learn how to defeat these White Walkers. I've seen them coming. I know what's happening. Yeah. And the Archmaester, which I was like, man, he reminds me of Slughorn from Harry Potter, and it is.
This one.
It is.
This one.
It freaking is. It doesn't look a thing like him almost because of the face and
the beard. He's got a lot of facial hair now. He's got a bald head. Slughorn didn't have bald head, but
the speech pattern and just everything, I was like,
Yeah, she totally. I didn't see it at all.
I can't help it. I'm weird, but yeah. So that was cool because I hadn't recognized him previously, but yeah, it's definitely him.
Yeah.
And
and he actually was. It surprised me. He actually listened to him. He didn't
he let him say his piece, and absolutely.
And he gave him access. I mean, we saw, didn't he? Well, then how did he get the books?
I mean, he's had those. I mean, he found them in the library.
Oh, okay, because I thought he did, because I thought that's why we got the books.
He's like, are you a maester? No. He's like, look,
well, then the
wall has stood forever, and basically implies it will always stand, no matter what they throw at it, no matter what White Walkers come that way, is going to stand.
Because he kept saying winter has come and winter is gone, and something like
and
that.
It passed.
And so I thought that was his way of letting him. I thought that was his way of saying, do whatever. But apparently, you're saying that's not true.
I didn't get that vibe. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I didn't. But only
him
because
saying that was dismissive, and he looked very upset and dejected, and he goes back to his normal duties. So it's like.
But then he had the books, and I didn't realize that those were his.
But there's a restricted section, and there's a normal section that you can have access to, even before you're a maester. So you have access to a portion of the library without getting the more secret tomes and the more expanded knowledge, obviously, that's in there. But he does find a map that has a mountain of Dragonstone, and he needs to let Jon Snow know, obviously. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, and we see Brienne trying to train, and Tormund's still trying to get with that. Of course, it's kind of cute. Their little interaction.
I thought
she's just like.
She's sword fighting this guy, and she kicks his ass, and he's like, "You're a lucky man," and it was just so funny. I was like, would you just?
I have to say,
it was so cute. I was like, "Oh, just be with him."
Our friend Carrie made the best point. That he is, of the men in this show, that have been kind of lust-worthy, or
he is very attractive. When I saw him, I was like,
but his line in the show, you shouldn't approach a woman until she's wet as a seal. Just saying, mad respect. Anyway, what? He said
that?
Yes. Oh my god, your face. But yeah, That's mad respect from this one right here.
I agree, and I also think that this would probably be a good time to interject that this is literally the very first episode of this show that I have ever seen in my entire life. She's never seen it.
She knows of the goings on. And
I just was not
interesting episode to introduce her to all the things.
Yeah, so it was really funny
and
because
she's costume Daenerys, so yeah.
Random.
I was like, come on, you got to see the things.
I was working a vendor booth to get into a convention. It's a little bit. There was a little bit of a, hey, I will do this thing if it gets me a thing. Mm-hmm. So, I knew tiny pieces.
And
because all my friends watch it, but I just never really had the inclination to
watch it. It actually, it took me a while to do it myself.
And this was
I've read the books, and I'm a hardcore. You have to translate it perfectly to screen, and but they're doing a good job. But so let's see. So we see that, and I'm trying to think of what else to cover before we talk about the ending. We see just the big flood of White Walkers coming in. You see Bronn, and he's being taken in to Castle Black, and it's like, who are you? And he knows everything about him, and he's really confused. So, but obviously he knows everything about this man. So they let him in. So we see him briefly. You see that's right after we see the White Walkers, and of course the giant. I think his name is Woon. He's got a very long name, and forgive me, I cannot try to pronounce all of it, but he's very. I mean, he was that giant that you just loved, and he took a lot of a beating and still stood strong. So when he did die, it was very hard. But now he's regenerated as a White Walker. Listen to me using Doctor Who terminology, regenerated. But anyway, he did as a White Walker, and you see him walking in the back, and oh, my heart! Especially with the one blue eye and the one that was weird. But anyway, so you see him. You see the North coming together, and that basically saying that they're going to train not just men but women, children. And that, I mean, she really kind of hit
that
it
little
home.
girl.
Like, I'm not going to sit idly by and let everyone else fight for me. I'm going to be on the lines myself. So mad respect yet again.
Like, I'm not sure who she was supposed to be, because I didn't recognize her, but I was just sitting there like, oh my god, she just said that, because she was the one that was like, all of us are gonna fight, women and children, and she was like, we're gonna start now.
Like, I don't know if they've kind of princess or queen, what exactly her title is at this point, but I mean, obviously the head of the family, and they listen to her, so, but that was really cool. And then, I'm trying to think, what else did we see before we get to the way it ended?
There was you talked about talked about Arya already, and then you talked about the people coming, and then there was the Hound, and they stopped at that random cottage, and so they went in, and that was so sad. They found the two people that were like basically skeletons at this point
that were starving. So he decided to kill his daughter and then himself, rather than have them starve to death.
Which is, I mean, I was actually telling her it's very interesting, because I literally just today read this huge article about, and I know this is really random, but I'm a very morbid person. It was like the worst ways to die, like worst possible ways to die.
Starvation.
Starvation was like number 3. And apparently it's a very slow and a very painful process, so I can kind of, it's like I told her, like, having known that now, I can kind of see, as a parent, I guess, like, what they're in for. And I mean, he would have had to have sat there and watched that happen to her. How could you, as a parent, how could you do that? Like,
exactly.
So I mean, it's kind of like lose-lose, because like what kind of a parent would be able to take their child's life, but you're saving them from basically torture. So it's like, oh, I mean, And then he killed himself because, I mean, you know, obviously that's not something you could live with anyway.
Well,
so
like the Hound got a bad vibe about that place to begin with.
Yeah, which I thought was really weird because like nobody was there and they had, you know, those people were dead. So it made me wonder like why was he getting such a bad vibe? Was it because of that?
Maybe or just I don't know, because these people are followers of the light and the Lord of Light, and you know it actually shows that they're all kind of together. They've started a fire to warm themselves by, and he actually gets the Hound to come over by the fire, and he looks into it, and he sees the wall. He sees the White Walkers approaching, and he sees just what is coming, and you know, and they ask him like, "Now do you believe that we're here for a reason?" and all this stuff, and you know, he looks really frightened. So, and the Hound does not frighten easy. So
clearly not.
Yeah, it's interesting. So. We'll see what happens with that. But then...
And then, what was his name? Jorgo?
Oh.
What was his name? Starts with a J?
Who?
The guy that you said he was turning into stone.
Oh my gosh, Jorah.
Yeah, Jorah. He was
Mormont.
asking Sam,
yes,
the Meister in training.
Me.
Yeah, he was one of the people that was in a cell, and he came to collect his bowl, and he like flipped out and was like reaching his hand out and stuff, and scared Sam.
Yes, and was he asked him, "Has the Dragon Queen arrived?" And Sam says, "No, not that."
And you know he's still scared. He's like, "I haven't heard anything."
And it kills my heart because I know he's turning to stone, and
but
here's what confuses me. Here's what confuses me. She said to him, she gave him one directive and one command, because he told her to command him to do anything, because he was prepared to die, because he knows he's turning, and he's prepared to die, and he wants to die in her service. And she commands him to find a cure. So it's weird to me that he's now in like this cell of some kind in this
so it's
monastery.
Like, what did he do? Like what happened
in the library, monastery, whatever you want to call it, with the maesters. I guess maybe they're searching for a cure. I'm not sure, but he's obviously turning. Like you see his arm.
Yeah, they show like from here down, like
with all of him like turning into the creature, and
which is really sad because I didn't understand what was going on. She had to tell me, and so you told me that he had a thing for Daenerys, and I was like, "Oh, that's sad."
He always has.
So he wanted to see her, and then you see that like she's got her fleet of ships or whatever coming in, and Tyrion's with her.
Of course, he is the gift.
Yeah, he is the gift. I love that.
Oh,
I love Peter Dinklage so much.
Yes,
like even before
amazing.
this, but so they go to, and what was the name of that? When they went to that castle, and you said it was start with a B.
Baratheon.
Yeah, Baratheon.
Oh,
so they find the Baratheon
so
castle.
Of course, that's how last season ended. Is the fleet of ships, her standing at the helm, and them riding, her with Theon, Greyjoy, and Yara, and them joining sides, and just the dragons and with Grey Worm and the Unsullied, and just all of that powerful ending scene. So it's coming back to that at the very end, appropriately. And they're arriving on shore, and they walk into Castle Baratheon, and it's deserted, obviously, because we know the Baratheons died, and very sadly. And well, I mean, you know, it's kind of, I know that's a controversial point and kind of a debatable topic, but anyway. So she goes in there, and she sees like the flag. She pulls it down, obviously very symbolic of her like taking over and preparing to take over more. Not just Castle Baratheon and House Baratheon, but all the houses and castles. So she's
coming for that throne.
She is, and she very strongly. So she walks in
here to steal your throne
with Tyrion and with Davos and Grey Worm, and all of them are coming in. Missandei to.
And what about Landria Sand?
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So, anyway, so they go to the table of the map, and she, like, very, very powerfully places her hands down and says, "Let's begin." And that's how it ends. So, I mean, very powerful ending, of course, to see that. And, you know, it really reinforces that, you know, how this is going to turn out, I don't know. I mean, Bronn's obviously at Castle Black, so he's getting closer. Is he going to tell Jon Snow the secret of who his father is? Is he gonna tell him who his mother is? Is he gonna tell him all this stuff that he has learned? Is he gonna tell him about what he saw with Hodor? Is he gonna tell him like all these different things that have been revealed to him as the three-eyed raven? I would love to know. I'm dying because I don't know, because you and I both know when Jon Snow finds out who his dad was, shit's gonna get real.
Who was his dad?
He's a Targaryen.
What?
So
okay.
So we found out that Jon Snow's a Targaryen. Spoilers. And
how did this
spoilers?
Well, we're already here.
It's okay.
So, all right, so wait, is he like the only non-blonde Targaryen?
I mean, that's actually a good question. His mother was dark-headed.
Okay, well, see, because Daenerys and her brother are both very white blonde.
So, Aegon Targaryen had sex with Ned Stark's sister, and that's her baby.
Oh, God.
He is Ned Stark's sister.
So he's half Stark, half Targaryen.
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yes.
That's gonna be awkward.
Isn't it, though? So, yeah. That means
Honey, I'm home.
He's also Dragonborn in a weird way. I don't know which is more.
Well, but the question is how is all that gonna come into play as far as the war?
Here's another thing, because in the past Targaryens have intermarried to keep the family bloodline going.
Yeah.
So it's possible Jon Snow and Daenerys could get together. I'm just saying, because she already said in last season that every compromise, every kind of joining together begins with a marriage. So she's already kind of made it known she's prepared to marry.
Have to do that. Yeah.
And so I mean,
well, see, she's one of the coolest. She's one of the cooler characters because she's the one that I know a little bit more about, just because people have talked about her more, I guess. And so, I love the way that she handled the situation when she was with Khal Drogo. I love how she handled the situation with her dragons, bring me my dragons and all. I mean, just
give me my dragons.
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff. I thought that stuff was pretty awesome.
And obviously, I still am standing that Tyrion is also a Targaryen.
Okay, what makes you say that?
It's a theory, not proven. But okay, so Targaryens are known for killing their mothers when they're born. He killed his mother when he was born.
Wait, she died in childbirth?
Exhibit A, yes.
Okay.
Exhibit B, and I mean, obviously Cersei still blames him for their mother's death, and that's why she hates him so much. Exhibit B, he could handle the dragons without them killing him or snapping at him.
Nobody else
whenever he unchained them. So, Exhibit B. I mean, just his relationship with Daenerys, the whole way he conducts himself. I just have this feeling that he's the mother of a whore, supposedly, that's what they say. So I really feel like his mother was a Targaryen, and that's how he was born, and that's why he killed his mother during childbirth. So it's just a theory, could be wrong.
Actually, that's a very solid theory,
but we'll see. And I mean, look at the how he was able to persuade. I mean, yes, he's very intelligent and has a lot of wit.
I love the way he talks. That's one of the things I like about him. He's a
classy person, and he understands the way people think better than most people might understand.
It's like he picks up on... It's like he knows exactly what to say to each person.
Yes.
It's like no matter who it is, he knows exactly how to play it.
Plus 20 charisma.
Oh, right, yes!
Diplomacy.
That's it, yes! Plus
diplomacy.
Charisma.
Dungeons and Dragons for you guys. So anyway, we'll see what happens with him. But anyways, at the very end, after the scenes, you see coming up next with Game of Thrones, you see lots of stuff, obviously they're preparing for war. Yeah. You see, more White Walkers, and then you see Yara. And Yara, we obviously know, likes women. And it shows her, I swear, with the sand. Elisara?
Snake. Elandra.
Elandra?
I think it was.
Anyway, sand. Elana, forgive me. It's been a long night. So, with her, and I'm pretty sure it's her, because you just see her hair and kind of her profile. Pretty sure it's her. So, we'll see what happens with that.
Well, it looked exactly like her when you showed me a picture.
It does.
Ilaria.
Sand. Sorry, there you go. Ilaria Sand, and I'm
they
pretty sure
was kissing.
they were getting together. So I don't know how that happens or if that is truly what I saw, but that's what I thought I saw.
That's what they made it look like. And again, this is a preview, so they cut things a certain way in order to have you go, what? And then
you like, I had to pause it, click, you know, at that moment. Is that because awesome. First glimpse, I was like, man, that looks a lot like. No, rewatched it.
Who's that?
But yeah, so that was an interesting kind of twist. But yeah, overall, obviously a powerful start. You know, Daenerys is there, so this is going to escalate quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Cersei's planning a war. She's obviously thrown down the gauntlet to Jon Snow, saying, you know, I, Cersei, Queen of the...
that's right. That was one thing we didn't talk about. Jon Snow got a raven message from her telling him to come to King's Landing and bow to her.
Bend a knee.
Or basically he would be killed.
He would be killed, yeah.
Because she's calling him a traitor.
Yeah, I mean, that he's...